All right, friends, we are live for another episode of the Blue Crocus Experience, and I'm joined today by Josh Roman of American AF Dumpsters out of Dallas, and I'm excited. Josh, welcome to the show.
Man, thanks for having me, for sure. Appreciate you having me.
It's going to be fun. I've been following Josh for a while. We were just talking before we got started here. Josh has got over 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, so he's got a lot of people that know him, and he doesn't necessarily know who they are, but been following for a while. And I've been trying to get him on the podcast here for, I think, before Christmas. We've both been very busy. I just came out. You were busy over the holidays, and then things got busy with the lead up to the new baby for us. So I'm excited to make this finally happen. So Josh, just give people an idea of who you are, what you do, and where you're at, and then we'll roll from there.
Definitely. So for the non 10,000 people that don't know who I am, I guess, which is a ton. I'm just a business owner. I've always owned a business since I was 18 years old, even before that. Just a hustler, always working, trying to figure out the what's next, right, for me. So, long story short, I've owned a limo company for now 15 years. COVID hit us pretty hard, and I decided to open up a dumpster business during COVID. Well, why not? I thought it was more of a recession-proof business, completely opposite of a service-type industry that I've been in. And there's always going to be trash. So it wasn't even a company to begin with. It was more of I called it my first video is the dumpster experiment. And I just wanted to see what it was like, if it was going to work for me, if it was a side hustle. And here I am. I don't know. I think I've got close to 100 videos on YouTube. And yeah, I've turned it into a business.
I love it. So you started that, it was in October of 2020 or November?
Yeah.
October.
Right about October.
Yeah, because I think I was just catching up to speed as well before we jumped on, so I could have a few talking points. And I think you made one. It was like a couple weeks after you got started. You were just picking up your trailers and everything. So what was that process like? Because there's a lot of people here who are getting into it. I mean, I think trailers are harder to get now than they were even a couple of years ago. But you decide dumpster rentals. Your limo business was still running, although obviously a lot slower. And then you kind of just dove in. What other things did you look at, and why did you choose dumpster rentals over everything else?
So I won't lie, that was actually my second option during COVID. I don't think I've even talked about this in the channel, so this is like exclusive to
I love it.
the podcast. But this is actually my second experiment during COVID. My first one was it was called Discount Liquidator. I had a cool cartoon made of me, and I ended up buying a semi truck of returned goods from Home Depot, and it was Home Depot and Lowe's. I think it cost me like $7,500. I got literally a semi truck. And so we turned our shop into like this massive pallets and, all kinds of boxes of tools. And man, that was a lot of work for very, very little money. And then the other thing was, half the stuff that gets returned is because it doesn't work in the first place. And I'm not good with my hands like that. I have no idea how to fix, anything, let alone broken saws or stuff. So anyways, that totally took a dive, did not work at all. And so then again, I looked into trailers, I looked into dumpsters, and I just thought, trash is, a lot of people don't want to deal with trash. They think that the landfill, which is kind of just disgusting sometimes, but I had never even been to a landfill before I started this business.
Really?
Never, not once.
Wow.
Crazy thing. But I bought a trailer. The first trailer, I believe it was like $4,000 all in. It was a 16-footer. I would rent it out as I believe a 15-yard. And it was not a dump trailer. It was just a regular cargo trailer. And literally, I posted an ad on Craigslist to rent it out before I even got home. Actually, no, right when I got home, I believe I posted an ad on Craigslist, and within 2 hours, I got my first rental, and I took it right away to a guy in Ennis who was cleaning out his mom's mobile home.
That's awesome.
And that's how I started.
That is awesome. Yeah, you just kind of hit the ground running. And there was a story too of, I mean, I'm sure you have a lot of stories because I haven't watched the whole channel. But there was one where you emptied everything out by hand. It took
Oh
you
my
like
gosh.
2.5 hours or something. Was it that same one?
So that one was pretty hard because again, it was loose, a bunch of loose trash, lots of books and papers and old CDs and just all by hand. So me and my dad were in there for a while shoveling it and stuff out. You know, we didn't know how to do the pallet pull, and the place where we went to didn't even offer that anyways. So that one was also hard by hand. But my third rental was literally my worst one ever to date, and that's when they loaded a mesh cargo trailer with dirt and tarped it, and we had to shovel it out. So we were literally at the landfill for hours.
That's
And
brutal.
birds flying over, and I was just praying none of them would poop on my head. You know what I'm saying? Like just one of those things, right? It's like, it was just bad.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah, we've got landfills here, obviously, and with the junk removal, we're headed there all the time. But certainly nothing to the scale of what you'd have in Dallas, I'm sure. So it's they're smelly things, smelly outfits when you get there, and birds everywhere, and it's a fun racket.
The birds are crazy because you normally see, I mean, they look like seagulls. Like you typically think, right, beautiful seagulls at the ocean.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whoever's seen, explain to me why there's these nice white birds, and then sometimes you go and they're all black. I don't know what they do, but anyways, you go first thing in the morning around here sometimes, and they have like somebody's taking out their like fresh, steaming, hot manure. And if you've ever gotten a whiff of that, boy, it's one heck of an experience.
I love it. Get into dumpster rentals just for that, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's your.
So we've got a few people jumping on here. Scott, appreciate you jumping in. Scott's been a longtime supporter of the show. And we've got someone here. I think it's in a group. So if you're in a Facebook group, sometimes you have to approve StreamYard so that we can see your name. But appreciate you jumping in. Anybody who's listening and has questions for Josh or just wants to comment, drop them here. But he's saying, congratulations on the success here. And then studies about the importance of videos on YouTube and GMBs. Yeah, I mean, YouTube videos are powerful. We'll get into that a little bit here. And I have a few videos on our channel about using YouTube for SEO. There's some powerful stuff you can do with that. So just drop your name as well so we can acknowledge you if you're still listening. But let's dive into YouTube, and then we'll get into some of the business side of things. But as you were getting going, I mean, you were a couple weeks in, I think, when your first video was. Maybe I don't have that quite right, but what made you decide to go the YouTube direction?
It's weird, right? Because I've never, honestly, the only YouTube videos I've ever done before has been to promote the business, not really for
the educational side of things.
Educational, entertainment / education. But I just thought I really wanted to document my journey, and I wanted to know if this was really a viable business opportunity, or if it was just a side hustle, or if it would just, fail like my discount liquidator did, right? Like if it was just something that, but I wanted to document it. I really wanted to document my discount liquidators, but yeah, that was terrible.
Like, you realized pretty fast that was going to go down.
Yeah, I just, down. So it wouldn't have made good for a channel. But like I said, my first video was, I had a Trump sticker in the background. I'm not going to talk politics. I never did on my channel, but I did have a Trump sticker on it. I had a big old redneck pickup truck just that I bought cash. And it was just to try it out, just to see. And honestly, like it just picked up. Like I posted today on Facebook, and I don't know if you saw it, but I posted today on Facebook. I've never once shared my YouTube channel on my personal media, social media platforms. Never once.
Really? Wow.
I never once. I have lots of family members that don't even know that I do it. It's 100%. The 10,000 followers I have now is almost 100% organic. I do have a couple friends that follow me, of course, but it just took off. People really wanted to see if I would succeed, if I would not, if it actually was a good business for them or not. So that's kind of why I did it, really.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's been cool to watch it because I've been following you for about a year and a bit now. So it's been fun to see it, even the growth. I don't remember what you were at when I jumped into it, but it's you're just keeping on cranking out the content, and you've got a group as well. So we'll link to the group and all of that in the comment section on the podcast. But let's dive in. So I love the hustle. You just buy a trailer. Let's see how it's going to go. You put up a post and get to work. Let's take us on the journey from there. You know, how are you getting jobs? Obviously, you just went to town and posted in there. I imagine you're probably posting in Facebook groups as well now for jobs. But take people on that journey. What's been the process there? Because I see this all the time. People are asking me for tips on how to get more work, but there's tons of stuff outside of the websites and Google business listing side of things. So I'd love to hear your take on that and maybe some nuggets for people.
Sure. So the way I started, and like I said earlier, my first post was a Craigslist post, $5 for a post. I turned it around. I got $350, $400 instantly, right, within a couple hours. That's not common. Like, I'm not selling anybody a pipe dream ever. I want everybody to understand, like, this is not a get rich quick scheme. It's not an overnight success. I've been at it for over a year now, and it's if you're dedicated, there's no way you can't be successful. Mm-hmm. If you're in a good market, right? It just also depends on your market too. But you know, I started out with Craigslist. I started out with very minimal advertising. Facebook groups, local groups is incredible. Once people know what you're doing, or you know, if you're or you just go do a search. Anybody that's looking for a dumpster rental, even if it was 6 months ago, you just do a search and you just plug in your company name in there. And hopefully the next time it pulls up when somebody else does a search. You know, a lot of people don't know how to use the search bar on Facebook, but it comes in handy. So yeah, Facebook and Marketplace and Craigslist was my main forms of advertising when I first started out.
That's huge. So what are your posts like? Because that's something that, I've challenged people recently in the groups to go on live in some of the community groups and just say, hey, this is what we're doing. Not necessarily even selling, you know, hey, give us a call. Just, this is what we're doing. This is the type of stuff we do. So that's one way of posting in the groups. That's something we've had success with our business, you know, just posting in there, commenting, you know, yourself searching for people who are looking for junk removal or dumpster rental, and then dropping your business name. But what's your style of post when you're dropping in community groups to kind of get people knowing what you do?
Yeah, I'm kind of big on pictures, right? So I go into Canva and I'll take a picture and I'll put in some easy little, you know, words or, you know, local. It all depends on who I'm advertising to as well, right? So if I'm advertising to realtors, you know, I go onto a local realtor page and I create like a specific little ad for realtors. If I'm advertising to contractors, there's plenty of contractor pages out there. And that's a golden nugget right there for anybody who's looking. Like, look for specific groups. Don't just look for your local buy, sell, trade groups. I mean, although those are good, but specific groups. If you're targeting contractors and you want to get that contractor work during the week, go to plumbing pages, go to roofing pages, go to general contractor pages. If you're targeting the realtors, again, go to local realtors. If you're targeting homeowners, then you want to go to probably like the swap pages or the rummage sale pages. And again, when I first started out, I was doing anything and everything to keep the trailers moving, whether it would be hauling equipment, whether it would be delivering rock when I first got my dump trailers. Mm-hmm. I've done rock. I've done, you know, you can go to a rock quarry and buy 5 tons of, you know, I think they're called 1-inch or 3-inch rock for like $11. Well, this is how it used to be. I don't know about now. This was like a year ago. I'm sure prices went up a little bit, but $11 a ton. So $55, I'd walk away. I turn around and sell it for $250 a load and deliver, you know, a dumpster full of gravel or rock. Any way to make money at first, because you just need to hustle. You need to keep the wheels rolling so that you can continue to grow. Yeah. And but yeah, those local pages, those targeted specific pages for who you want to advertise to are huge.
That's huge. That's so key. What would you say is your biggest, like, aside from homeowners, what's your biggest sector of, like, is it GCs? Is it realtors? Like, who would you say is your kind of biggest niche there that you're targeting?
Contractors. So GCs are awesome. They do want to nitpick and, you know, drive your price down as much as possible, but they're in the business to make money too, right? And be profitable. Yeah. So as long as you, what do you say? Under promise and over deliver, and you give them a fair price, they're almost always you're going to be their go-to, you know, dumpster guy. Yeah. I've built a relationship with one guy in particular who he's now going to become my GC on one of my properties that I just bought. And we're going to work with each other and give each other business that way. So you also meet a ton of people. It's awesome the kind of people that you meet. I've met, like I said, I've met contractors. I met my concrete guy who did my concrete in my house the other day. I've met some awesome people, and you just gotta get out there and talk.
Yeah. No, it's huge, and I think a lot of people miss the route. For a couple reasons, but miss the route of going with contractors. I've been talking with a guy in Georgia, William Bird. We're going to have him on in a couple weeks. He does dumpster rentals as well. But basically his main source of income is from contractors. He's got in with 2 or 3 roofing companies, and they keep him busy 5 loads a day kind of thing.
Sure.
And there's a lot to be said for making connections with people that matter in the industry. Homeowners are great, but you've got to have a steady stream of leads. If you can have one person that you impress and have them bringing you jobs all the time, that's huge. So that's
right.
a nugget there. How many dumpsters are you at now, Josh?
10
dumpsters. And is it still, I don't think I've caught up on some of the more recent ones, but is it still just you, or do you have anybody else helping you lay them out?
Just me.
You're busy.
And that's the way I want to keep it right now for a good while.
I love it. And are you still, how's the limo business doing now? Is it picking up at all?
We are beyond slammed, thank God. So everything has not only come around 360 degrees, but we are busier than we've ever been. So we're breaking month after month records, which is incredible for us too.
That's awesome. So you've got someone else here said, discovering the power of groups allowed us to go full-time last spring. Thanks for putting emphasis on picking the right groups. Very useful. Yeah, that's a nugget there, and one that should be stressed is pick the right niche. Knowing your market is so key. You can drop into buy and sell groups, rummage sale groups, yard sale groups, but having connecting with realtors, stuff like that. Do you do any offline stuff, like any walking into offices or networking events like that, Josh?
So I am the biggest introvert. Like I don't know if it's very odd, right? That I have a YouTube channel and I'm out there talking all the time, and I'm comfortable doing that. But just going up to people in like a room, a networking event, I'm the guy who's in the corner. Like, you either come talk to me and we'll be best friends. But if you don't, I will not. I'm not the kind of person to just go up to somebody and talk to them. So clients I do, obviously, when I'm delivering a dumpster, I'm okay there. But just the group settings, I'm not good at. So I don't do any of that kind of networking. I don't do any cold calling. I don't do any of that stuff. I don't just stop at work sites and say, hey, my name is Josh, would you like to book a dumpster? Which is cool. Like, if you could do that and you're comfortable with yourself doing that, more power to you. I would definitely recommend that, because a lot of those guys too, I mean, you'd be surprised how many of these contractors are disappointed with the service that they are getting currently with their current dumpster guys. Yeah. They almost all have one, right? And if they go with the big guys, and I won't name their names, Republic, CWD, or any of those other big guys around here. I don't know about other places, but they don't pick up their bins when they say they're going to pick them up. 9 times out of 10, you'll see one of their dumpsters somewhere, on the side of the road, and they're just overflowed with trash on the sides because they're not coming to get their dumpsters. So they're not happy with their current provider. As long as you can, in this business, you're dropping off a metal can. You just have to drop it off when you say you're going to drop it off, and pick it back up when you say you're going to pick it back up, and not damage their property, and they're going to be happy. Yeah. So it's not overcomplicated. It's not rocket science. It's an easy business, but you just got to be able to do the work.
I love it. So if you were to start all over again, back in 2020, and you've kind of, what you know now, what would be, the top 3 things you would do for advertising?
Ooh. I wouldn't do anything different, honestly. Like, look, the way that I grew may have been slower than most. Like, you could go out and buy, I talk about this in several of my videos, but you can go out and buy 10 dumpsters, 20 dumpsters, 30 dumpsters, and a truck, and you can hope, a field of dreams, right? You can hope that the business comes. Or you just do it organically. You just grow the business slowly, because you don't know what you're going to get into. You don't know what kind of stuff that you're going to get into, how many breakdowns you're going to have. You don't know any of that stuff. So as you grow, you learn from experience. And I've learned. I mean, I grew the hardest you can possibly grow in this business. I went from cargo trailers manually, with the shovels dumping, I think it was like 4 tons or 3 tons of dirt out of my trailer, to dump trailers, to then the roll-offs, to now the hook lift. And I've grown and I've learned slowly. And advertising the same way. Advertising is the same way. I did it the free route, or the very, very inexpensive route. I still do that. I did it the Facebook route. I did it the social media marketing route. And then now I do it through a lot through Google advertising or Google AdWords. And then I'm working on my SEO and all that stuff. So it's really hard to say what I would do different, because I feel like every step that I've taken has been essential to get me where I'm at now.
I love that. Yeah. And you say you've grown slowly, but I mean, it's been a year and change since
it
you
feels
started.
slowly. It feels like it's taken forever, but
yeah, but that's pretty fast. I mean, to go from the tarp lining a trailer and carrying dirt to now having a hook lift, that's pretty fast for a lot of people in the industry, for sure. So it's cool. And I think the one thing that I love about what you've done is you have an amazing brand. You have an amazing presence on social media. You've talked a bit about your group strategies and stuff. Like, guys, there's tons of different ways. You can pay for AdWords, you can pay for SEO, you can pay for a website, but there's so much you can do offline or outside of that, those paid avenues. There's offline stuff like going to networking meetings and talking to people in person, but there's also the groups. Like, there's stuff that just takes time. And when you're starting, you have more time than money often. So get out there, get uncomfortable. I imagine it was probably a little uncomfortable at first to be posting everywhere. But you just did it, right? Do you go live at all in the groups? Is that a strategy you've ever used?
I've done it several times in the past. When I first started the group, I have not done it recently.
Yeah. How was the return on that? Like, did you get some good interest around that?
I think so. Yeah, definitely. I think the brand recognition, right? If you do it regularly, I think your brand recognition would definitely grow even more so in your local area versus just hit or miss every now and then.
Yeah, I love it, and I see people say, "Oh, I'm uncomfortable getting on video." It's like, well, you can just point the camera at your dumpster and talk about what you're doing. Like, at least get out there and show your brand, because that's your currency when you're getting going. So that's awesome. So let's I'm cognizant of our time here. Let's talk about a couple of the stories that stick out to you. Just have a little bit of fun banter here around the business. But what are a couple stories that stick out to you that were horror stories or really out there with jobs that you've done? And I'm hitting you cold with this. So I'm hitting you cold with this. So I didn't give you time to prepare.
No, I mean, one of my most popular videos for sure is the time that my trailer snapped in half. Like, it literally just snapped. That was, and luckily I got it on camera. I don't go out there and record every single time. I mean, it gets really repetitive doing the same thing, picking up and dropping off a dumpster. But this day in particular, I just put the camera. I record 99% of my videos on the phone. It's just an iPhone, and I have a GoPro. I have a 360 camera. I haven't even used once because it's so complicated. I have the drone that I've done several of my videos with. I love using the drone, but
yeah, there's some shots
more time
to really good. You have some really good shots from the drone.
Yeah, I do like it, but it just takes time to upload it and all that stuff. So it's much easier to just grab the phone that you have in your hand anyways and record like you said. But yeah, I just put it on the stand and I was recording, and just my reaction, like, it's kind of funny just going back and watching yourself. And the second that dang thing snapped and it just broke in half, I looked at it and I'm just thinking to myself, son of a gun, like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Like, what am I gonna do now, right? And we got it to work and stuff like that. But yeah, that was a rough day for me. And that's the thing. I've documented my wins, but I've also documented my failures, I guess you can say, right? My bad days. And that's what's so important for people to understand. Is like, being a business owner is you're on a roller coaster, and some days, some weeks, some months are great, and others are not so great. And if it was easy, everybody would do it, right? But documenting that, having the video, some of the stuff is like, so some of the stuff is just, I get lucky that I catch it on camera, and other stuff is like, man, I wish I would have gotten that on camera. But for the most part, that one stands out in my head. That's a big one when the dumpster snapped on me. The shoveling the dirt, we've talked about that one. And what else? That's really the two biggest ones that stand out on me.
Two big ones, yeah. That's what I mean. That's not an everyday occurrence, thankfully, to have that happen.
Yeah, and it just goes to show that, like any other industry, there's equipment. Equipment makes or breaks your business, and literally breaks your business. But I was recommended all the time when I first started the business, go with standard rail dumpsters. And if you don't know what that is, it's just literally a dumpster that is built by a manufacturer who builds it at a standard width, the rails at a standard width, so that most of the trucks can pick up that dumpster, and not go with a company that has their own proprietary dumpsters that only their specific trailer can pull that dumpster. And I went the cheap route. And I paid for it. I paid for it big time. Not only did I pay for it when the trailer broke and I had to get that fixed, but I paid for it when I finally decided, okay, it's enough. If I'm going to really turn this into a real business, I need to go the standard route and transition my entire fleet. At that time, I had 12. So I had the trailer and 12 dumpsters, and I decided to change it all, sell it all, and go to the hook lift with standard rail. And I went back down to 5 dumpsters for a little while. But
when was that? What point last year was that?
That was actually right around Christmas time. I ordered it. I sold it. I sold my trailer right around October, November of last year. And it took me until just after, I believe, the new year to get my truck and dumpster. So for a while there, I didn't have anything. I wasn't making any money. So again, that was a big, it was a learning lesson. It cost me money. But in the end, I'll benefit from it.
Yeah, that's cool, and the truck looks sweet too.
I do like it. It's so much easier. It's
a lot faster deploy time, and you can get in tighter areas too, right?
Tighter areas. I don't have to get out. I mean, if it's pouring rain out, I literally don't have to get out and hook up the winch or anything like that. One thing is you do got to get out and make sure the door is secured on the dumpster. Otherwise, if they happen to leave it open, you can damage your dumpster. But other than that, man, I mean, you don't have to line up perfectly to it like a truck and trailer. I don't have to do a whole 90-degree jackknife and worry about the trailer hitting the side of my truck or any of that stuff. As long as I can hook it, I can take it.
I love it, man. Well, this has been fun, and I think there's some really good info. I'd love to chat a lot longer, but we're just constrained by time here.
Sure.
Drop us a couple nuggets. You talk about the roller coaster of business. Drop a couple things for people who are starting out, and then we'll wrap up here with how people can find you and follow you.
Sure. Like I said, I've been in business since I was 18. I started my own security company when I was 18 years old. I was working on the police department, and I've learned over the years that if somebody's selling you a pipe dream or a get-rich-quick scheme, it's not likely going to work out for you. I mean, unless you're the rare few people who can go buy a lottery ticket and become a millionaire overnight. I don't know any business that will make somebody a millionaire overnight. What I do know is it takes hard work. It takes dedication. It takes long nights. And I mean, Elon Musk, he's making the news right now because obviously he just bought Twitter yesterday. But you look into that guy, and that guy, I mean, he says he works over, I think it was like 120 hours a week at some points.
He's a busy man.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. I mean, I remember Lewis, when you get a chance, look at my limo company website. It may not be the prettiest, but I have put in hours, days, weeks, months into getting that business or that website to rank the way it does. I don't have to pay for advertising anymore for that business. And that's where this business will get to, right? The cost of customer acquisition. And I know you're probably your main viewers or I don't know, what are podcast people? What do you call them?
Listeners, yeah.
Listeners, I don't know. But I'm sure most of your people are following you because of your SEO stuff, right? And because of your website stuff and what you do. But ultimately, the goal is to have enough power on your website organically to rank up in the top, preferably the top one, if not top three of Google, to own as much real estate as you can on that first page, whether it be an ad, a map pack, and then an organic listing. But it's not something that's overnight. I mean, what age of view? I mean, there's so much stuff that goes into it, right? Age of URL, SEO stuff, keywords, backlinks, all that stuff. But you focus on that hard, and business will come. Now it's up to you to make sure that you can provide the service that you're selling, and then it all falls into place. And at some point, we get to where we want to be at, whether it's that financial freedom, whether it's that that time that's more valuable than even money, right? That you can spend with your family. That's huge for me. That I can make all my kids' soccer games. That I can be there when I can make it in my schedule to be there when they need me. But it takes time. Yeah. So don't, it's really easy to fall into a pipe dream, to watch these guys. And I hate to say it, but some of these YouTubers where I make $1 million in my first year, I call BS on that. And if you do, great. But you got to put in the time, and eventually it'll pay off. But you got to work. You got to hustle. So work hard, hustle hard, and keep on moving. That's all I got.
I love it, man. I love it. That's some really solid advice, because there is a lot of content out there that's like, oh, you can make a ton of money. You can make a lot of money, but you got to set the system up to work for you.
Yeah,
I love that, and that takes work. And for a lot of us, who for a lot of the listeners and people I see in the groups, a lot of people don't have a business background, and they're getting into this, because it looks good, right? There's a lot to learn in business. I've been at running my own business for three and a bit years now. And there's a lot to learn. I mean, you've been doing it for a while, but it's definitely a roller coaster, and a lot of hats to wear, a lot of plates to spin.
So well, not only is it a lot to learn, it's like you're never done learning, right?
Ever.
Because
if you're done learning, then you're done.
Yeah, the second you stop, you fall behind. I mean, there's always going to be somebody that. I tell my kids in soccer the other day that we lost a game, and it was a hard loss for my boys. They're 9 years old, but I told them there's always going to be somebody faster than you. Always in life, there's always going to be somebody stronger than you. There's always going to be somebody who's got a better shot than you, or more foot skills than you do. But at the end of the day, it's like, how much heart do you have? How much do you want to win? And you should want to win more than anybody else on the other team. Same thing in business. You should want to win more than any of your competitors. Mm-hmm. They may have better service than you. They may have better vehicles than you. They may have better, dumpsters than you. Whatever they may have bigger dumpsters. But if you have the heart to win, and you back it up with the hustle, then there's no better formula to be successful.
No, there really isn't. There isn't. I mean, it's that's awesome, man. So how can people find you? How can they follow? I'll drop links to everything you mentioned here in the comments on YouTube, and or in the description on YouTube and the podcast. But where's the best place for people to find you and follow what you're doing?
For sure. Just American AF Dumpsters on YouTube is really my main go-to. I do have a TikTok, but I don't. Gary Vaynerchuk would hate me because I don't post enough on there at all. But you can follow me on TikTok at American AF Dumpsters. You can follow me on Instagram as well, American AF Dumpsters. Just do a little Google search or a little search, and you'll find all my links.
Amazing, man. This has been a pleasure. It's been a blast. Love watching what you've built. It seems to you like a long time, but it seems to all of us watching that it's just kind of exploded up overnight. So it's been really cool to watch it happen, and appreciate you coming on the show.
Man, thanks again. We should have done this sooner, but if you ever need me back, let me know. This will be my first, like I told you, this is my first podcast, and it's a pretty cool experience. So I appreciate being on here, and let me know if you ever want me back.
We'll definitely make it happen. Stick around. We'll just end the recording here. Stick around. We'll chat briefly before we head off on our day.
Sounds good.